Hello, everybody. It's Giselle Toner, and welcome to Ignite Your Value. I am the host of the show, and today's show, we're going to be talking about something that's extremely powerful. Now, last time I was doing this show with you, I told you that we were going to be going through different aspects of my course. And my course that I teach to women is called the Goddess Blueprint. So let me go a little bit into that right now to give you some information about what that means. Right now, I know that you are probably here for a reason. You're looking for some way to start up leveling yourself. I work with women who are feeling at the bottom at this point of their lives. A lot of times women are at that place because they've been going through some severe trauma. It could be bad relationships. It could be an abusive relationship. It could be a dead-end job. It could be just life that wears you down. And they're looking for a different way. And this is the place to be, because we are going to be going through many different ways for you to start learning ways to become much more powerful physically, mentally, spiritually, and professionally. So we're going to be hitting on lots of different things here. But I wanted to tell you that we're going to be doing a lot of the course materials and going through the lessons that I teach personally to my clients, and also interviews with other people that are experts in the field of becoming more powerful, more self-assured, and just learning different ways to start becoming much greater than you ever thought you could be. Okay. Now, last time I did talk a little bit about the main thing that you need to do, and that is making a decision now to start just moving into a little bit of a different area in your life. If you don't make that decision, then nothing will ever happen. And it's kind of like saying, well, I would like for something to happen, and I'm just going to sit here and wait. Well, you may get very, very lucky and have something drop in your lap. However, I'm going to tell you that you do need to have the mindset. And the mindset is the most important thing. So once you have that mindset of, I'm ready to start moving further along and stop playing small, stop accepting less than I deserve, and know that there are things that I need, that I deserve, that I can have, that are mine. This is the thought process that you need to have. Now, this doesn't mean that you go about being selfish. This means that you do go about learning how to love yourself more, respecting yourself more, and as a result of that, things start falling into place. Let's go into this next session that I want to discuss with you that I feel is extremely, extremely important and very, very powerful. And it is called connecting to your divine twin. A divine twin, your divine twin, is actually you at your highest level. So let me explain that. Deep inside of each one of us is a certain part of our being that is extremely powerful, that is connected to something much greater than anything that you can imagine. And that other part of you is always there. However, a lot of people go about their lives never discovering it, never knowing that it's there. This is going to start to give you the ways to discover it, learn about that other part of yourself, and really get to be very, very familiar with that higher level you. And you will be actually able to get information from that higher level self, take energy from that higher level self, and start to become that higher level self. So in the beginning, it's almost like meeting a new friend. And after a while, you start taking on all the traits of that person, okay? And you start to learn how to become more powerful. So if that other person hopefully was somebody that you want to be like, that's the person that you're going to start to emulate. But this goes even deeper. It actually goes into the aspect of you become that higher level person. And that happens from you accessing it. Now, we're going to go through a little bit of a experiment here. I'm going to call it an experiment. And kind of like a demonstration. However, there is a complete lesson involved here where you can download it and learn it from the download, learn it from the audio. There's an audio that's involved, and it will actually take you step by step through this process. And it is actually a guided meditation. Okay. So I want to just give you some information about it right now. And let's just do it for the sake of feeling the experiment and feeling what it's like. So I want you to sit up straight and make sure that you're comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes, taking a very deep breath through your nose, and then a long cleansing exhale. And now keeping your eyes closed, we're going to go through a process of actually meeting your divine twin and being able to ask your divine twin questions and learning some things from your divine twin that you need to learn, asking questions as to how to go about getting more powerful, how to gain the strength that your divine twin has, how to gain the knowledge that your divine twin has, and how to become much more available to the miracles that are waiting for you through your divine twin. So now, as we sit quietly, I want you to just relax your body through a few deep breaths. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Again, long inhale. And a very long exhale. And now start feeling yourself relaxing and going deeper and deeper into a relaxed state. And now we're going to do a symbolic journey. And I want you to just listen to what I'm telling you to do and then follow as best you can. So we're going to go into a room, and I'm going to have you look into the distance and see a doorway. And now open up the door. And as you open up the door, I want you to look inside this other area. And this other area is an absolutely beautiful place. It could be a home, or it could be outside. It could be a beautiful meadow. It could be you looking at a beautiful stream or the ocean or mountains. Or you could just be in a beautiful room or a home. But I want you to make it exactly the way you want it to be. I want you to feel beautiful inside of this space. And I also want you to bring your awareness to any aromas that are around, maybe flowers, or possibly if you're in a home, you can smell something beautiful inside the home, maybe some flowers that are in a vase next to you, or maybe apple pie that was just baked. So I want you to bring yourself into this place and make it real and make it for you, whatever you feel good with. And now I want you to sit somewhere. So you can either sit in the meadow or sit on the hillside or sit in a chair or sit on a beautiful sofa, but make yourself very comfortable. And now in the distance, you're going to see a figure. You're going to see a person. And that person starts to walk towards you. And as the person walks toward you, I want you to notice that this person looks very familiar. That this person has something that is amazing. And this person looks extremely healthy and extremely happy, at a perfect weight, and just really looking brilliant. And as that person comes closer, you can see that it's you. But it's you at your highest level, at your absolute best. Shining brightly. There's an aura around this person that is you, but it is you at your highest level. And now invite yourself at your highest level to come into your space and to sit next to you. And now you're sitting next to you at your highest level. And I want you to now ask yourself at this highest level how you got there. Because this level of you has everything that you want. This higher level you has the relationship, has the job, or has the business, or has the lifestyle, or has the serenity and the peace and the health. Whatever it is that you need, it could be any and all of the above. And I want you to just take a moment now to ask questions and get some information from this higher level you. So just for a moment, we'll be silent, ask the questions, and gain some information. Okay, and now we're going to start to bring that information into us and then keep it inside of you and remember what you asked and what was told to you or what was energetically transferred to you. And now your higher level self is going to leave and thank your higher level self, thank your divine twin. And now you can see your divine twin leaving and going back off into the distance. And now it's time to bring your awareness back. You can still keep your eyes closed for a moment if you want to. But I want you to now start moving back into that other space. So you will stand up from your seated position where you were, whether it was a chair or a couch or the meadow or by the stream or by the ocean. And now stand yourself up. And now let's start walking away. And now you're going to be back in a room where we're going to be opening the door and stepping through the door and then going back into the other area. And now open your eyes. Take a deep breath. Good. So that exercise that I just did is something that I want you to do frequently. And I want you to expand the amount of time that you actually will be talking to your divine twin, if you want to. So you can ask many questions if you like, or you can just ask one question and try to get as much information as possible. And this is really important to start doing on a regular basis because the more you do it, the better it gets. The more information you'll be getting, the more clearly it will start to become a reality for you. And you'll actually start to be able to move into a better place for yourself so that you'll be able to gain what it is that you're looking to gain. And I promise you that this is a practice that takes time, but gets better and easier. And eventually, you're going to start seeing differences in your life. You're going to start feeling differences in your life. And it's almost like a magical thing that will happen to you. But you need to be able to do it consistently and really gain the energy and the knowledge from your divine twin. And sometimes it doesn't happen immediately. You may do it 3 or 4 times and not really feel anything, but eventually you're going to start getting power and information. And you will eventually start becoming that higher level you. So it doesn't just stay this way. It doesn't just stay where you're just going to be meeting this person and gaining the information and then going away. You actually become that higher level person. So I hope you enjoyed today. And again, as I said, I'm going to be taking you through different lessons that I teach in my course, but I'm also going to be interviewing people that are of interest, people that are going to be able to train you in certain areas, give you great information, and powerful people that are going to be showing up. So I want you to just continue to tune in to Ignite Your Value And again, I am Giselle Toner. I am the host. I'm so happy that you tuned in with me. And I want to make sure that you know that you are very, very much appreciated. Okay. So I'm going to end this meeting now. I'm going to end this session. And I hope to see you again soon. This is Giselle Toner with Ignite Your Value. Namaste. Hi, everyone. This is Giselle Toner, and I'm excited because this is going to be a really wonderful show today. This is the Ignite Your Value show, and it's the show for those who want to go from being in pain to being pursued in life and love and profession. I want everybody to know that you can go from brilliant to getting the love you deserve, to getting paid what you're worth, and it's time to rise up. So if you've been feeling at the bottom, it's time for you to really know that it's time for you to start moving upward and really getting your power back again. So today I'll be showing you ways to navigate through tough emotions and situations by teaching you strategies to win with strategic life coaching, yoga, and other empowerment modalities. In addition to interviewing people who can shine the light on how they overcame struggles and what they do to shine their brilliance for others. And today I'm excited to bring to you Christine Schlonski, also known as the Queen of Sales Success Mindset, who is going to talk to us about the importance of sales for your business and your life. So it's not just about business, it's your life also, because we all know that we have to sell ourselves constantly every single day in every situation. So Christine is an expert at this. So hi, Christine, and I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, hi Giselle. I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Oh, good. Well, let's just go right into, tell us a little bit about your background and maybe some of the struggles that led you here to be as brilliant as you are.
Yeah, I'd love to share. So I help people who love what they do, but who just hate selling or dislike selling, to really make an impact in their business, because when they make an impact in their business, they make an impact in their lives as well. And as you already mentioned, it is so important because we sell ourselves every single day. And so many people are just not aware of this fact that they are already in sales, if they like it or not. So when I started out in sales, I never ever intended to be in sales in my whole life. But I used to live in the south of Germany in the Black Forest. And I thought that it is a beautiful area, but I wanted some more life and action. So I looked at all the big cities in Germany and I thought, well, where would I love to live? And my big apple in Germany is Berlin. So I thought, okay, let's move to Berlin, because I really want to have other options than just beautiful countryside and a little nice restaurant here and there. I wanted more life. So with that said, I needed a job, because back then I didn't have the idea that, entrepreneurship was for me. I just had finished my studies. That was more or less my second job I had. So I decided to go to Berlin, and then I looked for a job. But since I already had before just looked for the job, this time I thought I'm going to be smarter. And I'm going to look for a company that I would love to work in, so I could really enjoy the whole setting and not just have a job. Yeah. So I did some research. I found a really nice company, international, great products, good name, great address in Berlin. So that meant if they could live there, like if they have their office there, they had money.
Yeah.
So I wanted to apply, but they did not have a job opening. So I thought, well, just send in your CV, write a motivational letter and see what happens. So I did that. And then the CEO gave my CV to the sales director of the sales department. So that's the person who called me. And I heard sales and I kind of froze. I was like, it's the right company. Everything sounds good, but this department, no way. I don't want to be in sales. Because sales for me, it's that sleazy, pushy, you take other people's money and you run.
Yes.
right? Like all the emotions that we connect to sales because we all had a bad sales experience in our life.
Oh, yes.
So the person talked to me and he was a really good salesperson. He sold me the job. So to make a long story short, I started to work there and I started to learn how to sell. But it was not the heart-centered sale. It was like more the practical, technical, just call people and then see how you end up, which was fine because the product was great. But the one morning, I kind of woke up, and we all have this one morning that prepared itself for a long time. And I woke up and I thought, well, is that all? Is that all there is?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a nice apartment. I'm in my favorite city. I have a job where I make really good money because I'm just good at what I do and I work really, really hard. But it
Right.
seemed like hard.
Yeah.
I could afford the vacation. I could go out, but when you can go out, you're not going out every day.
Exactly. Right.
So I was like, I had this emptiness inside.
Yeah.
And, the question came back and back and back to the point where I just couldn't push it away anymore. Right. From the outside, I had this pretty cool life.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of promotions. My basic salary increased and, it looked pretty comfortable. But inside, it was like the emptiness was getting bigger and bigger.
So
And
you actually started to feel that unsettled feeling.
yes.
You
Yeah.
knew that there was more. Like
Oh,
you.
definitely. I was like, there must be more. Like I felt like I'm living another person's life,
Yeah. And so
right?
when you started to feel that kind of discomfort, and I think that that's a key point here, discomfort. When
Yeah.
you felt discomfort, you knew you needed to do something totally different, or at least listen to the stirring that was going on inside of you, and you didn't push it away, right?
Well, at some point there was no way to push it away anymore because it's so often people say, well, I woke up and then I realized. But
Yeah.
this is actually something, it stacks. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you have this realization.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I like physically, my body started to ache.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I had like this feeling in my stomach. And when I
Yeah.
went to work, like when I came close to the office building, I was like, oh, I don't really want to do this anymore.
So tell me what happened. Like, why? Okay, so what you do right now is a byproduct of all of that pain that you felt, right? So tell me a little bit about why you do what you do now. And I think I know why you do what you do. And it's because of the pain that you felt. And
Yeah.
it kind of like just transitioned you into wanting to do something different for other people. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well,
Why?
there is a step in between. So when I had this realization, I did some thinking and then I started to look for help. As I would say, as Germans, we are not really used to asking for help.
Yeah.
Like when I lived a year in the US, like everybody had like a therapist and they had support. Like for me, that was like, oh, something must be really wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because why would you have a therapist? You just do it yourself.
Right.
So I started to look for ways to get support myself because I realized just getting another job is not gonna solve my problem because I'm just gonna take my problem to a different workplace and I'm gonna start at zero again.
Exactly.
So I was really, searching the internet, like, how do I get my energy back? And like, it was a pretty tough time and it was not changed from one day to the other. But
Right.
I discovered in all my research, and then I started to go into self-development, that I could become a coach because I didn't find a coach.
Mhm.
Since I didn't know there was online coaching, I
Right.
just looked around where I was and nothing really resonated.
Yeah.
But what resonated was a coach training. So I figured, wow, how cool is that? It's probably going to be the same investment. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to have a certificate, which is even better for my CV, right? That was my thinking back then.
Right.
So I went onto that journey and I discovered the self-development and the coaching world. And I felt so good. I
Yeah.
loved all the ideas. I saw people changing in front of my eyes. And my pain still was there, but I had a different why.
Mhm.
Like things within me changed. And it was really nice to see when I put together what I had learned in sales with
Right.
the coaching, with the self-development, my own sales numbers doubled and tripled. That
Wow.
was good for my commission, you know?
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, so it was really great. So I stuck around in that job until I became the sales director of the department.
Nice.
And then I thought I can make like big changes and I can have it like my way. And but it wasn't my company.
Right,
So
exactly. Yeah.
I had to realize that with all the ideas, yeah, I'm just gonna run against the wall again and again,
Yeah.
which is fine. And then I thought, well, I'm just gonna go out on my own because of
Mm.
everything I learned. I can really support people in that transition of feeling empty inside.
Right.
And I know that a lot of managers that work, and neglect other areas in their lives, that they have this feeling. So that's how I started out with my own business.
Right.
And then I saw that all these amazing souls from my coach training and the
Mhm.
other coaches I got to know, they all had an issue with selling their services.
Right.
And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So here's like sales. And, I lasted over 12 years in
Mhm.
that position,
Mhm.
which other people, they come into sales over the phone and they last like 6 months, maybe 2 years.
Right. Right.
And so I had really proven that, I could be persistent and I could learn and I could work around the big challenges and find the way. And then putting that together with the coaching, I thought, well, wow.
Let me ask you a
How,
question. How
yeah,
do you actually help someone? Let's just say, for instance, it's a woman who never really was into the corporate mindset. She doesn't really have like the big high end job, but she's got a family, she has a husband and children. How would you help someone like her with the whole kind of like sales thing in her daily life? Because, of course, we already know that we are selling ourselves constantly, okay?
yeah,
So, how
yeah.
do you help a woman if she basically would say to you, I don't know how to get my husband to listen to me? How would you help her in that kind of situation if you could? What would you do?
Yeah. So first, what I've learned from just watching is that people often have not enough self-confidence,
Right.
and they have not learned. So no matter if I have like I started out at the bottom in sales and I work my way up.
Yeah.
The same applies for, starting a family, getting married, like having your own unit that you are working, then kids coming into the picture or animals or whatever. You need to organize. And I think lots of people kind of lose this confidence because now you're in a different setting, and it's a question of like energy as well. Are
Right.
you giving your energy, your power away because now
Mhm.
you have a husband that brings home the money, and therefore you value yourself differently
Yeah.
because you feel like, well, he brings home the money, so I have to support him. Because
Mhm.
giving that money piece away by
Yeah.
not having a career can really be challenging for your confidence.
Right.
So that is where I would start with that, having really a look. How do you feel in your own skin? How valuable do you feel?
Yeah.
Because I truly believe that we all have these amazing, amazing gifts. And no matter if your amazing gift is to raise beautiful children, to organize the family and the household, or your amazing gift is to build $1 million company, it doesn't matter. We all have a different purpose.
You are
And
so right. Oh my gosh.
maybe you can teach others how to raise beautiful children because you figured it out, right? Or maybe you have something else you want to bring to the marketplace, or you just want to improve in your life. So
Mhm.
having that look, because it starts like all here, right?
Yes. Oh
So
yeah.
having that look at yourself and see like, where are you? How do you value yourself?
Yeah.
How much do you truly love yourself? How is your self-talk? How do you feel when you look in the mirror in the morning and, your hair goes in all different directions and you don't have makeup on? Right? How do you feel about yourself? Like, what do you tell yourself? Do you say, good morning, beauty, gorgeous? Or do you say, like, hey, ugly, nice to see you again. I better just brush my teeth and don't look in the mirror. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you treat yourself?
Yeah.
If you respect yourself and if you're able to stand in that power, everything else around will change. The conversations with your husband is going to change because you're claiming your power back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so important, Christine. And I think that that is the main central point right now of why women are feeling at the bottom sometimes. And even though normally, we're looking around and we're seeing all this empowerment stuff and women are rising. But honestly, when I talk to some of the women that come to me, I can see that there is a real discord going on. They outwardly look beautiful. They've got the makeup and the hair, and or they're in fabulous shape physically, but inside there's a really huge gap and there's a big emptiness, and that is what is happening. And what you do is so important because you are a leader. You know how to get someone to say, "Hey, I've got to value myself," because that's what it's all about. If you don't value yourself, you're not going to be able to be very effective in anything. Your children will not listen to you. Your husband will be watching the football game and you'll be just like in the background. He won't even know you're existing. And that kind of thing is a real, it's a drain on any woman because everyone wants to feel valued. But if you don't value yourself, it will never happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's where you got to start. If you don't love yourself, if you don't value yourself, well, why should anybody else?
Exactly.
Right? You got to stand up for yourself. And that doesn't mean you need to go out and scream it from the rooftops. Just, that inner confidence, that calm, for me, it's a calm place where
Maybe,
I know
maybe screaming it from the rooftops isn't such a bad idea.
well, it depends. I mean, if you don't believe it, then don't do it, right?
Right.
I think there's, people that are super confident, they just radiate it out. They don't need the rooftop. They can decide to do it if it serves them at the moment, but they can just be with them and they can be totally happy and confident. Right. Because whatever they do it for themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
It's right, that analogy when you are in the plane, like put your oxygen mask on first, then support others. It's like this typical thing, but it's so such a nice picture, and it shows us what we need to do. Like fill your own cup and then give from your saucer, because if your cup is empty, you're just gonna be burned out and miserable, and you can't support whoever you want to support.
Right. Now if someone wanted to come to you and they wanted to build their business, of course, and they needed to learn more effective ways to do it, how would you, like just briefly, would you take them through like certain steps or a course or one-on-one coaching? What would you do?
Yeah, well, usually it really depends what they want to achieve and where they are. So I have an online course called the Heart Sells Smart Start, where people learn how to express what they do in a way that other people understand it. Also, where they learn like what kind of value they're bringing to the table and how to charge for it. But especially with my one-on-one clients, I can go so much deeper. Mm-hmm. Because I take them through the sales power system, and power the P stands for the past. So we are figuring out like where the emotion's coming from and how to rewrite that story. Then the O is for opportunities. And often we just see, opportunity. Okay, I get a client. That means I make some money, and then we are happy. But there's so much more to it. Then the W is for the why. So we are having a deep dive, and there's lots of different layers. It's not, I do it for my kids or I do it for my husband. There's so many different layers. And if you can bring that together, the power you will have is so different. Then
Mm-hmm.
E is for all the emotions and R is for the results, which means we have a look, like so many people don't know in their businesses, like what do I need to look for? Like sales numbers, what is that? So that it becomes predictable and you can create an income that's repeatable, right? So it's not like an up and down journey, so that you know, well, I have to make that, or I have to have that many conversations, and
Yeah.
hopefully not sales conversations, but fun conversations,
That
right?
I can tell you that is so wonderful because, you know, you kind of like just chip away at everything, and it really does culminate into this one big beautiful, boost for someone because they
Yeah.
start to learn things that they never knew before. And it's not only just about how to make a sale. It starts in your heart. It starts within yourself, and
Yes.
is so applicable to everybody. I don't know anybody on the planet who couldn't benefit by that kind of, knowledge, training, information, and changing and transformation of yourself. And that is the most important thing. I think it is transformation that really needs to start happening on a very large scale, and it starts within. It really does start within. And then everything else just kind of falls into place, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when you are able to make an offer with ease, grace, and confidence,
Yeah.
then your clients are gonna say, "Wow,
Yeah.
she's got something I want."
Tell me
And
something that can help the audience right now that they can do that just is like something fast that they can take away with them so that they can feel a little bit of what you're talking about.
yeah, love to. So just something, because I have a podcast called Heart Sells, and I just taught this piece, and I think it's so important, and I come back to it because I get so many questions around that. So there is a huge difference between the value you put on yourself and the perceived value of your customer. And you can exchange customer for your husband or for your kids, whatever it is. So the value you have for yourself, often we have an issue seeing it because our gift feels easy, right? I could talk about sales all day long. I've practiced this. I had over 80,000 cold calls in my life.
Wow.
So it's something I just do naturally.
Mhm.
For another person, it might be totally freaking them out.
Right.
So my perceived value of like myself is like, yeah, everybody can do that. That's easy, right? I don't need to put any effort in. So I might be thinking, because I don't put any effort and I can't charge for it. Right? So
Yes.
look at your gift, look at what you do naturally, where you don't put effort in, where you enjoy it,
Mhm.
and then get really, really clear on how other people see you, because the perceived value, right? If you would come to me, your perceived value would be like, whoa, if I could do it, I would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars because it's gonna change my world. It's gonna make my world so much better.
Right.
So adjusting, closing that gap from seeing yourself to
Right.
how somebody else sees you,
Oh, okay.
right? That helps every business or communication, because all of a sudden you don't think like, oh, it's not worth anything because it's just what I do. But
Right.
for somebody else, it might be life changing or maybe even life saving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So when you teach your kids something great and they don't take the drugs in school,
Mm-hmm.
right? What kind of value does that have?
Oh my God.
Right?
Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah.
So having a look at the value and the perceived value, because you don't know what another person thinks.
That's right. Oh my God. I love that. I'm taking this all in. I love it. And it's easy stuff, but yet at the same time, it's profound. It's
Yes.
simple, but at the same time, it's profound. You can really, really feel the difference, even just thinking about this, just saying, wow, that's a whole different way of me being. And you try it, and the next thing is like, okay, this works. This
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, it does.
I am so excited. And I want everyone to know how they can find you or reach you. What is your website, or how can they reach you?
Yeah. Well, I'm on social media, but like my website is christineschlonski.com.
You might want to spell that.
Yeah, I
S.
was just going to say that's
Yes.
a bit tricky. So Christine with a CH,
Uh-huh.
and then Schlonski is SCHLONSKI.
Okay, great.
Schlonski.com, and you find everything like the podcast. I have the so-called empowerment notes, my weekly newsletter where I share inspirational stories and something to get back to your confidence or something that's going on in my world, so you can also learn from it.
What's the name of your podcast? How could they find that?
Yeah, it's called Heart Cells.
Heart
So
Cells.
yeah, it's not the heart, it's a heart.
HEART, right? Like your heart inside of you.
Yeah, like
So
your
it's
heart.
Heart
Exactly.
Cells. And that is, if they wanted to find that podcast, they can find it.
Yeah, they can find it on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. I have a page called Heart Cells on Facebook where I put the podcast on as well. So, and when you go to the homepage, there are all the different tabs to get more information.
So on Facebook, it's Heart Cells, right?
Correct. Yes.
Great. That's easy. I think that everybody can remember that one. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. I am just so excited, Christine. You're amazing. I really love hearing your story, and I really feel that you're one of those people that you kind of like formulated what you do through so many years of experience. You're not just like a fly-by-nighter. You came along and you said, okay, I just want to slap this together. You formulated something through years, and I think it's wonderful. I'm really excited because I'm going to start to learn even more about you and what you do. But thank you so much for taking the time to give us this great information. I think everybody's really going to be happy when they start going into your information and what you do. So, well, everyone, that wraps up today's show. Thank you for being here. I'm Giselle Toner with Ignite Your Value. And make sure that you tune in again, because next time we're going to have something just as equally wonderful. And I really want you to make sure that you tune in. So, all right, everyone. Bye. Hello, everyone. It's Giselle Toner, and this is the Ignite Your Value show. And this show is about up-leveling yourself. It's for those who want to go from being in pain to being pursued in life, love, and profession. And it's for those who feel broken right now, but you know that there's something inside of you that you need to really build up even more. And this show is geared towards giving you the way to do that with different modalities. Some of it will be yoga related, some of it will be life coaching related, some of it will be combining both. And more importantly, I'm going to be doing interviews with very, very special people who are going to be able to give you much information about how they broke through from the wreckage and climbed out of it through their own ways. And this is where it's going to really help you. You'll be able to get pearls of wisdom from these people that are very, very special. And today I want to introduce you to Bob Kessler. I'm excited to bring Bob on today because Bob is a very, very special person. He has had his own serious trials and tribulations in life and managed to go way above the norm. And he is also a dog mentalist, and he works on a very, very deep level with really getting that spiritual connection with animals, okay? And he is an animal behaviorist. So I find that being able to talk to Bob, we're going to be able to learn that really, really strong connection with animals that is very important for most of us in our lives. And even if you're not an animal lover or an animal owner, you're still going to be able to get some really deep messages from this. So Bob Kessler, welcome. I am excited to have you on today. So welcome.
Good to be here.
Good. Well, listen, I just want to go right into this, and I want to ask you, number one, I want to hear a little bit about your background. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I call myself the original latchkey kid, and prior to being a latchkey kid, when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I began rescuing little puppies. I lived in a big city where there were a lot of stray dogs, so I would sort of rob the cradle of a litter bring it home, a young little puppy. My mom, of course, would say, "Get the dirty dog out of here." And it wasn't until I was 8 when my dad passed away and my mom couldn't refuse me a dog anymore that I got my first dog. And that was purely my responsibility, the dog. And the dog lived quite a long time. It sort of transitioned. What happened was in school, I guess I had the complications of a brother who had ADD. It wasn't diagnosed at the time. He was just a troubled kid, angry, what have you. And a mom who worked, so I was on my own and probably not living the best life. I'll spare you the dirty details, but let's leave it that I was not able to get into college right away. I was able to go to night school. What I chose to do instead of going in the military, it was the time of Vietnam, I went to Europe for a month on my own. So when I got back, I realized that I could not do anything with only a high school diploma. So I started school, but I was a year behind, really, when I went full-time college, University of Baltimore. So I got drafted in 1966 and went to Vietnam in 67 and 68. And I guess the only really good thing to come out of Vietnam was that I got into Oriental philosophy and religion, and I sort of adopted a form of Buddhism, meditation, and that had sort of crossed over into yoga and some Tai Chi, which I've done. But in any event, when I got back from Vietnam and started full-time college, I took it very seriously and utilized sort of the experience, the life experience that I had, and did quite well in college after that point, after my initial year. And became a social worker for a period of time, got some graduate credits, and I thought I wanted to be a social worker, help people. That was always my aim. And then I decided, well, I could do that as an attorney. And I applied to law school, and luckily I got in, went to I was living in New York at that time, but then I moved back to Baltimore to go to the University of Baltimore Law School. Now, I was married with 2 children. I was 28 years old when I entered law school. So I was a little older than the other students, but life continued on. And I did well enough in law school to graduate, become an attorney, with my, had my family's support, of course, and did trial law, criminal, personal injury trial law. I was a public defender for a period of time, 11 years, continued a private practice. And then nearing the end of my career, I began to become an animal activist. I've always had the dogs. I've always trained the dogs. I began professionally training in the early 80s. It wasn't until about 2004 that I discovered and crossed over in my training philosophy to purely positive. I think purely positive, there's no such thing as purely positive, but emphasizing reward-based training, leadership, and enrichment for the animals. So as I continued in my animal activism, I became a member of the board of directors of the Baltimore Humane Society. I began representing animal interests in my personal private practice. But in 2014, my wife, actually in 2001, my wife began having medical problems, and they really got complicated in 2014. And that's when I retired from the practice of law. I wrapped up my law practice, and I went full-time into the animals, because I always had it more or less as a hobby.
Now,
but
let me ask you a question. I just want to ask you real quick. When you realized that your wife, needed you there, right? You had a dog at that time, right?
Yes, I was going to say, I've always owned dogs, sometimes 2 and 3 at a time. I trained professionally. When I got a special dog in 2004 who was so smart, German Shepherd I might add, that I had to take classes. I began to transition into clicker training, reward-based training, and then I was taking classes, seminars, because I was on the board of the Baltimore Humane Society. They started using me, and then I got certified as an animal behaviorist in 2014, because I realized nearing the end of my legal career that I wanted to devote myself to animals.
And the reason that you did that was because you were you actually, experienced a transformation in your own life where you knew that animals and the connection to animals was really important for you to actually grow spiritually yourself.
Well, there's no doubt that the spiritual aspect of animals is almost non-communicative with us to the animal. They bark, we talk. They don't really understand what we say. They get the tonal messages, they get the body language messages, but you could say that's a very spiritual thing.
And the reason why you do,
when you connect at a non-verbal, only an emotional level, and that's what it is. I always talk about the 7 blue ribbon emotions. They are in all animals, all mammals. They all experience anger, fear, panic, love, sex, procreation, and very important one is the seeking emotion, that going forward, satisfying your need to go out, to go forward, to have fun, to go out to eat, to watch movies. For the dog, seeking is taking that walk. And that's a very spiritual experience also. You communicating with your dog on a walk.
and the reason that you do what you do is because you want to help others, because you know that once they get that connection and they start to understand the importance of connecting with animals, because let's face it, we are all one. We are all together. We cannot survive without the environment, without other animals, and we're all together. So what you're doing, Bob, is actually allowing people to understand how to get that connection, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And once you have that connection, it's you talk about spiritual, I call it sacred.
Yes.
Connection, and I've had it with animals my whole life. It's one thing when I go and train a dog, but it's another when I clue the owner into really what the animal needs from them. Too often with human beings, they want to control, but
right.
They can control not through punishment, but through positive rewards. Enriching their dog actually can really help its learning.
And give me a little idea of, the type of person that you serve. Who really benefits from what you do? What kind of people?
Anyone that owns an animal, and I include, I've worked on farms where I've helped even chickens. There are different combinations of animals, being able to read the animal's emotions, what it is thinking. And that's why I call it mentalism, because I actually am able to tell by the body language, by the way the dog responds, or any animal responds, what the animal's actually thinking. And they tell you, once you're aware of it, they tell you an awful lot.
And you can really tell when an animal loves his owner. You can tell.
Well, they all love their owner. That's why we get them. But the owner is causing the animal. And this is really the heart of the matter when it comes to what I do, by explaining to the owner not to pull on their dog, okay? Not to stop the dog from doing normal things. We can't cure normal. You can't cure a dog to stop barking. You can teach it to bark and then teach it how to stop after you teach it. And that's a very hard thing. But it's a normal thing for the dog to bark. It's a normal thing to respond to motion, people running at it, running by and then biting, which is normal. It's a prey drive.
Right, and I actually can tell you that I do know that, because I've seen it, and I'm sure you have also, that, there are animals who are not very fond of the people that are in charge of them if they've been abused. So, they do have that fear, and they do have that, after a while, they really don't want to be near that person.
With a lot of rescues, and they are difficult. I'm able to spot a rescue almost immediately, because of their insecurity, their tails are down, that they won't respond, they don't look at you. There's so many things you can do to draw out. They bounce back so quickly, dogs. They really do. And if you get the right owner and they know the right philosophy, they can have a charm for the rest of their life.
That is so true. I can tell you I know that firsthand, because I adopted a thoroughbred, and my horse came to me from the track knowing nothing but blast out of the gate and be afraid of everything. And he's still afraid of a lot because he still hasn't really adapted to regular life. But I am working with him. He has responded so well in the past year because I genuinely love him, and I am really, really very careful as to how I handle him. And he looks for me. he loves me. And this is really something that we have to understand about life in general, whether it's animals or people. You know, when you start coming from a place of compassion, everything changes, everything. And so I know that that's what you do. That is your.
That's what I try and establish, just enrichment for the dog, leadership for the human, not dominance.
Right.
We don't use the D word.
Right. And so I really am so thrilled because I know that, Bob, you've been really, you've lived a lot of life. You really have. You've been through a lot, you know, from the upbringing and the childhood and your dad dying early and being in Vietnam and then putting yourself through law school. I mean, that's incredible stuff. And now connecting with the animals and connecting with the dogs the way you do and being able to bring that to people's lives is incredible. I absolutely love that. I've got to give you so much credit, a lot of credit. And I wish more people had your mindset and your heart. So that's so beautiful. It really, really is. I love it. Yeah. And I want to tell you one other thing too. I know that there are many, many people that even though they're not animal lovers maybe or animal people, after listening to this, they're going to have a little bit of a different insight, okay? Because I know that sometimes when you're around an animal, sometimes it's difficult. You don't know how to read them. You don't know whether they're going to like you. Some people are really afraid of dogs and being bitten. And that's something that you do have to, you know, of course you don't want to go over to a dog and just grab them. However, if you're coming from a place of awareness and empathy, you're going to have a much better chance of being able to connect, being able to really connect with that animal or that person, that dog, whether it's a horse or a dog, or you even said chickens. And I know that chickens are smart. They really are.
I've worked with them. So there's something called a chicken camp where you can go to a camp and train chickens all day. I haven't done that yet, but it's supposed to be great for trainers.
That's wonderful.
What you said is so true. I just wanted to seize on one thing. It might help some of the dog owners and some of the non-animal people. But the chief sense that a dog uses is a sense of smell. So when someone has been bitten or someone is afraid or doesn't like dogs, without them really knowing it, they're exhibiting a number of characteristics that the dog recognizes that they're fearful or that they don't want them around. And the chief sense is their sense of smell. When you're fearful, that you produce certain hormones that show your fear. Nephrephrine. It's what comes at the fear hormone, okay? So the dog senses that, plus it sees your body language and your micro expressions. So without, I guess what I'm suggesting is someone that doesn't like a dog and wants to pet a dog really has to realize, well, that dog is really aware of the fact that they're frightened and they don't know what to make of it. They also hear your heart speeding up and your breathing change. Right. So that makes them a little bit more apprehensive of getting near you. Yeah. So that explains it. I'm giving you a little dog mentalism now.
That's actually wonderful. As a matter of fact, that's something that can be taken at a wonderful value for people. So I was going to ask you to give something that can help, and that's exactly what it is. You know, be aware that a dog or any animal really will sense your fear, and be aware of the fact that that could be something that you want to make sure when you're around an animal, if you've got a lot of fear going on or a lot of anger, or
the dog doesn't realize doesn't know if it's fear, they know that there's fear there and they hear that. They don't know the reason for it. They think naturally, living in the moment, animals only live in the moment, that it's them.
Right.
So they have to be on guard. They may be nervous, misinterpret what you really are feeling.
Exactly. That's amazing, and it's really important for people to know that. So,
but I do the same thing for people that have dogs. That's my mission. Okay, so that they can come to the understanding of the way their dog really feels.
I want to know how people can get in touch with you.
Okay, they can go on my website, dogmentalist.com. Dogmentalist.com is easy, and my email address is bob@dogmentalist.com.
Okay.
I have a blog, of course, on there that right now my very tired German Shepherd writes. just starting to. And you can also call me at 410-963-6116.
Okay.
410-963-6116.
Okay, so Dog Mentalist is all one word, DOGMENTALIST.com. Dogmentalist.com. Okay, great, because I think that people might want to be able to get in touch with you. And I just want to say thank you so much, Bob, for doing what you do, number one, being who you are, and being able to help people as well as you do, and the animals. So it's the dogs and it's the people. And just thank you so much for being here, being part of the show. I'm sure that it's going to be listened to many, many times, and I think that people are going to get a lot out of it. So once again, everybody, I was speaking to Bob Kessler. He is amazing, and please get in touch with him, okay? And I am just excited to be able to interview people like him because I know that he does so much for animals and humanity in general, okay? So, all right, well, that wraps up today's show, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Giselle Toner with Ignite Your Value, and make sure that you tune in again for other really amazing interviews that we'll be having. Okay, so thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you for having me.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye.